Hi! Today on Fooled by Plans, we're going to make another homemade favorite of something that you maybe probably only had in a TV dinner. Salisbury steak. So, I know a lot of people love Salisbury steak, and honestly, growing up, I think the only time that we ate it was when it was made in one of those encore dinner plates for the family, or maybe single served in a TV dinner. So, I've missed that in the plant world, but I found a way that we can fool anybody into having Salisbury steak and thinking it came right out of a TV dinner. So, let's get started. So, in our frying pan, we are going to take just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, about a tablespoon. We just want enough to cover the bottom of the pan while we get our veggies ready for our gravy. So into this pan, I am going to add 8 ounces of sliced washed mushrooms. It's very mushroom heavy, the Salisbury steak. And also 1/2 of a white onion diced. Throw those into the pan. So you should see we have our mushrooms and our onions in a pan with a little bit of EVOO. And we're going to cook these down until they are slightly, the onion should be slightly translucent, and the mushrooms, you can kind of tell when mushrooms are getting to the point where they're cooked. This is probably going to take a little bit, so I'm going to fast forward so I don't bore you through this part. Okay, I've been stir frying the mushrooms and the onions now for about 5 minutes, and they're getting right about to where I want them to be. The onions are starting to get translucent. The mushrooms have a nice little golden color to them. I don't want to completely cook all of the moisture out of these just yet because I do want them to mix in with the gravy so that the onions and the mushrooms add some flavor to our gravy. So in a mixing bowl, I'm going to set the onions and mushrooms aside for just a little minute, for a few minutes here. So we're going to pour these into a mixing bowl. And we're going to let those rest while we start the gravy process. All right. So we're going to make a roux in our pan. So the rule that I always use when I'm making a roux for gravy or for a cheese sauce is the 3-2-1, right? 3 tablespoons of flour for every 2 tablespoons of oil for every 1 cup of liquid. So I need to make about 3 cups of gravy. So I am going to start with the fat. So in the 3-2-1 method, this is going to be 6 ounces of butter. Your favorite plant-based margarine. I'm using one that's based with avocado oil that I really like it right now. All right, so we're gonna get that oil and the fat nice and sizzly. And we're gonna add in 9 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So that's the 3-2-1. So 9 tablespoons of flour. So we're going to mix that in with our oil, and we're going to let that all cook up. You'll see it all starting to come together. It'll be like little globs, I call them, my roux globs. You want to cook the flour. Raw flour is not good. So making a roux with flour is always the best approach. It also keeps you from getting lumps in your gravy. Now, while I let that roux cook for a little bit, I need to make a broth. So I use, not naming names or brand names, but this bouillon base in a jar. This is all vegetable bouillon base. So for that, it is 1 teaspoon for every cup of water, or for every 8 ounces of water. So I am going to put 3 ounces, or 3 teaspoons, I'm sorry, 3 teaspoons of my bouillon in my cup of water, 3 cups of water to be exact. And that's going to make my vegetable bouillon based broth. So as you can see, I now have very quickly made vegetable stock or broth. You can use any kind of vegetable broth. I know you can get it in cartons, you can get it in cans, however you can get your vegetable broth, perfectly fine. Let's just make sure that we have 3 cups worth of it. All right, my roux is just about where I want it now, so I am going to add in my 3 cups of vegetable broth. And I need to stir this in. I need to get my whisk, because I really want to whisk this in so that I don't have any lumps in my roux. So we're going to whisk, 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 whisk. And breaking up all of the roux lumps in the liquid here. So as this is starting to break up, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of gravy master. This is optional. You don't have to, but it does give the gravy a nice dark color. And this is gravy master. It's usually with the in the spice section. I'm now going to turn my gravy down on low burner because it's already starting to come together. I don't want it to get too hot. I'm also going to add in, which is optional, and I know that it might not be available everywhere, but they do make a vegan vegetarian Worcestershire sauce. And if you do have that, I would add in 1 teaspoon of that as well. So as you can see, our gravy is coming together. It's thickening up very nicely. This time I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of white pepper. This recipe is very heavy on the pepper spices, but that's kind of what this recipe calls for. So as you can see, our gravy has come together, and the only thing left to do at this point is throw in our mushrooms and onions. And the reason why I didn't cook them down anymore is because I did want some of this moisture from them to be incorporated into our gravy. So as this cooks a little bit longer, some more of the flavor of the mushrooms will come out, and so will the flavor from the onions get mixed in here with the gravy. So I'm just going to let this chill on low for a few minutes. And we're going to get ready to do the heavy lifting with the Salisbury steak. And by heavy lifting, that is truly an absolute joke, because once you see how easy this is, you're going to be wanting to make this pretty frequently. So I am going to take a casserole dish, baking dish, whatever you have, and I have already pre-cooking sprayed it. So the easiest way that I found to make Salisbury steak is to find an already pre-packaged patty that's shaped like that. I use these. I find these in my grocery store. I've also used other brands' vegan burger patties, and these work perfectly well. This one comes with 4, so I am literally just going to place them in the bottom of my baking dish to make them fit. So as you can see, I have 4 thawed patties. You can use whatever brand you want. Now, I also take a fork and I will poke a few holes in the top of each patty. And that's just so that some of the moisture from the gravy can get down in there and make the Salisbury steak patty filled with the gravy flavor. So here we are, 4 patties, greased pan. The only other thing we have left to do now is to pour our gravy that we just made all over top of the pre-made plant-based burger patties. And that is it for the prep. Your prep for your Salisbury steak is done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop a lid on this and we're going to stick it in the oven at 375 degrees for 40 minutes. So I'll see you in about 45 minutes. All right, now it's time to see, have we been fooled by plants? Is this going to taste exactly like it used to when it came from a TV dinner back in the day? Only one way to find out. That's to take a bite. It absolutely does. Tastes exactly like it used to back in the day. You're going to love this recipe and want to make it frequently. So that's all we have for today. After you serve it with your mashed potatoes and some veggies on the side, you've got the best TV dinner recreation on the planet, and it's all plant-based. We've been fooled by plants, and now it's your turn. See you next time.